Hello, welcome
Hi.
to the channel. It is July 26th. Do you have any channel news before we get
No
started?
channel news.
Okay. It is July 26th. We can proceed. When good men do nothing. Marcus Aurelius says, often injustice lies in what you aren't doing, not only in what you are doing. Often injustice lies in what you aren't doing, not only in what you are doing. Okay, this one has like a really big emotional response in me because I have heard a lot of messaging in the last several years about what other people think I should be doing that is just. Like, oh, well, like, you need to be doing this. It's been a lot of, like, telling me what is just, and I then, like, freak out because I have, like, a different map of meaning in my head of the world, and I don't even know what they're referring to sometimes. I don't have enough information around this whole thing to know, is this just or not just? Because sometimes when people say, well, if you were, doing the right thing is this. And I'm like, well, how do you know that the right thing is this necessarily? Do you know all of the information from all of the different points of views and all of the different parties?
Or are we just ad hocing over here,
Right.
making it up as it comes and taking and sounding like we know what we're talking about?
Is it just self-righteousness
Yeah.
coming at me that's saying, well, I'm on the side of justice and this is what that side is? Or are there more points of view that need to be considered in order for me, at least personally, to get to a place where internally, I'm like, this is the right thing to do. And when I hear people telling me what the right thing to do is that I need to now go do, it alienates me from that investigation because it puts me in this like frantic thing. And like, this is just my own bullshit, right? Of like how I'm reacting to it. But it's like, it puts me in this like very like anxious place of like, oh shit, this is the right thing to do. This is the right, so-and-so is telling me this is the right thing to do. I must do it. If I don't do it, that means I'm
Not mostly not optimized or
Right.
not doing the right thing.
Meanwhile, in other ways, I wake up every day always thinking about, well, what is the right thing to do in this situation that I'm presently involved with, this conversation that I'm having with this person in my immediate proximity? What's the right thing to do here? Ooh, this situation has some weird stuff going on. Never dealt with this kind of stuff. What's the right thing to do here? Ooh, this person said something I don't like. What's the right thing to do here? So like, I'm trying to do that at the same time. So I guess I just haven't done that all the way to the point where like I can be unbothered when I hear someone else's idea of what the right thing to do is.
Yeah, that's great. And then also I'm thinking about the other side of it, like when you said like, well, sometimes I know exactly what I need to do, so I need to go, like it feels so like convinced internally that this is the right thing to do. And what if you're the person who's now telling somebody else what they need to do, and they are the ones who are unsure of it, right? So it's like,
absolutely.
So there needs to be like, for those who are convinced internally that they do know and it feels this is the right thing to do at this moment. I tested it 100 times. Could this derail? Sure, but they need to preface that with this, right? They should communicate more about it, of how do they how do they know, right? Hey, you know what? I've been to this, we've set it up like that, and and then I've been there and we did the same thing, and then these were the failing points, and therefore we need to go like that, right? Okay, now everybody's bought in, right? But it's hard when they're like, dude, just do this, man. Come on, everybody knows that. Like, then it's like, well, I don't know that, and I don't know that you know that, and how the heck are you know that? How are you so confident telling me about this stuff? Should I blindly just trust you and go spend 3 months of doing something that's actually not going in the direction where I want to go, right? So this is confusing from that standpoint. So then perhaps it's about like if they are not the communicators and they are the just do this, then maybe it's on us, the receivers, to say, this is not satisfactory for me right now. I need to go dig in and ask questions and and dig in to find out how the heck do they know, right? But now we need to be, I feel like that can create a conflict sometimes, right? Because like, how do you know? Like if those questions are, how the hell you know? Now it's like this, right? So there has to be this mechanism of how we actually dig in for that information, so we actually can trust this person when they're saying just do this. It is actually that, right? Like it's hard. Like this is hard. Communication is really difficult because like sometimes we have to communicate for the others because they don't. They're communicating on a level that's not satisfactory for you to be able to action that information into your life. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can you read that quote again? I just want to kind of see how it sits.
Often injustice lies in what you aren't doing, not only in what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying when there's the right thing to do that you aren't doing.
Sometimes it's a right thing to not do something.
So, right, and I would put that into the category for me of when I hear something coming at me that I can't
yes.
put into that picture. The right thing for me to do there is not
to do that just thing.
Right, because it's not. It's too anxious.
It's too anxious.
I'm doing it for some other reason than besides me knowing at a very deep level that this is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That hints on that right thing to do again. Like it's what is the right thing to do.
I mean, the way they talk about it, it seems like is like. And I don't think they're like going at a situation, because a situation might have many right things to do. There might be many strategies. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So I think they're talking about it at one level above that, which is like kind of on like the moralistic level of like what is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So it's like if somebody's telling me to do something that I don't understand, like they're saying this is the right thing to do and I don't get that that's the right thing to do, then moralistically at a level above it, my right thing to do in that moment is to help try to bridge that gap.
So you are convinced internally if that thing is the thing
or
to,
is not.
Or is not the thing to do. Yeah, is it the thing to do right now in this moment or not? Because when we hear the information for the very first time, it's so new from, and it's a suggestions from someone, right? And then we have to say, well, do they know who I am? Like fully of what I want, who I identify with? Like, or do they identify with themselves and their values and they're saying, they think I have the same values, therefore just do this and it's gonna work for you, right? But maybe my values are completely different, right? So the just doing that, I might have a problem with just doing that thing, right? So it's like, how else do I get to that different outcome by efforting in a different place and not doing maybe this, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's all these different, and that only comes with us, the not knowing, digging into further educating ourselves to like what is it that they're actually suggesting, and will this fit to me, my personal situation?
Cool. That was like a weird angle on this quote. I'm sure Ryan is gonna like take it probably more into like the general area of like.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, Ryan says, history abounds with evidence that humanity is capable of doing evil, not only actively, but passively. In some of our most shameful moments, from slavery to the Holocaust, to segregation, to the murder of Kitty Genovese, guilt wasn't limited to perpetrators, but to ordinary citizens who, for a multitude of reasons, declined to get involved. It's that old line, all evil needs to prevail is for good men to do nothing. It's not enough to just not do evil. You must also be a force for good in the world, as best you can.
Sweet.
Yeah, so then it's a matter of having a good gauge for what evil is, because I think what I'm driving at is that I get a lot of information with people telling me this thing is evil and you need to act against it, but the thing they're saying is evil, I'm not bought into the idea that it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that are clearly evil, let's stop doing them. But then there are other things that are this gray area that I think is what I'm referring to. That's I cannot just adopt somebody else's point of view on it without investigating it to the level that internally I know, is this right? Is this right or is this wrong?
Right. Yeah.
That's, I think, my whole crux here.
Yeah, because we need more angles. We need to see and understand more angles on that subject, except from one person who's saying just do it, right? That's what it is, because the just do it comes from just this one way, and I'm well, I don't know what to do, so your just do it seems like a good idea, right? But before I actually go do it, I need to see that same thing from this guy and that lady and these kids and those elders, and then, okay, now your just do it makes total sense and I'm bought in, but not before then, because otherwise I don't have enough information, and now I'm potentially just following some doo-doo head who's just thinking that this is the right thing
that
to
I'm
do.
on the right side of history, but it's really easy for me to delude myself into thinking that, and then just kidding, 50 years later you look back and you were part of the Nazi party somehow. You know what I mean? This is how this happens.
Yep. Yeah, we are all responsible for our own decisions and actions. Yeah, and then they need to be vetted out before we make those decisions and have those opinions. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Nicely done.
Sweet.
Thanks for joining. See you here tomorrow. We're still recording.